and Rafael Obino. The European Technology Chamber is committed to help European companies to increase their competitiveness, reach the SDGs around the globe, but also to access opportunities for European tech companies in emerging markets. The SDG Alliance is supporting this overall strategy of the Chamber. It supports the European companies to use technology on behalf of present and future generations and to foster an inclusive, multifaceted, and prospering society. Since technology obliges, and with great technology comes also great responsibility. The SDG Alliance tries to empower tech companies to reach competitiveness through purpose and to educate and support European companies to reach corporate social responsibility and ESG goals. We also emphasize that companies should focus on SDG goals, but also generate jobs and educate the local people. One way to do this within the Chamber is by promoting strategic pilot projects in emerging markets. The Chamber is doing this together with Mustard Seed. And of course, we support European companies to do good, not only locally, but also internationally. So we encourage them to enter new markets and connect values, to share knowledge, share resources, but to also share competences. In 2015, the United Nations created a set of Sustainable Development Goals that represent a consensus-driven agenda of human progress, framed by the UN's 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development and adopted by world leaders. The SDGs comprise 17 goals and 169 targets that summarize the critical challenges facing humanity and how to respond. However, seeing the current situation and progress, the world will likely fall short on delivering most of these goals by 2030. But new technologies have, according to recent studies, the potential for a high impact across over 2/3 of these goals. Big data platforms and artificial intelligence are already supporting progress towards each and every one of these goals. The fact is that 70% of the targets could be enabled by new technology applications already in use, but it's currently not the case. We can and we must do more to manage the impact that technology has for mankind and the planet. With just 8 years left to deliver the goals, technology sector executives and government leaders have to act faster and accelerate and realize the use of technology's potential to tackle the global goals. We also believe that companies must always feel a part of something bigger. Undertaking bold and adaptive strategies will help them nurture their competitive advantage, but also to have an impact on the SDGs. And not compromising the ability of future generations and to meet their needs. So in this regards, we will have a very nice panel today, which will share with us their experience and talk about best practices and challenges all around the SDG goals. But first, actually, I would like to hand over the microphone to Svetlana again. She will introduce us very quick the Chamber, their mission, and the tools the Chamber offers for the advocates. So from my side, thank you very much, and I hope we will have an interesting and informative event today.
Thank you so much, Javier, and I'd like to welcome you all to the SDGs Best Practice and Challenges webinar. My name is Svetlana, and today I'm calling from Nairobi. For the EU Tech introduction, and just also to introduce to the EU Tech platform, if you do not see the presentation, please will you click on the bottom right icon next to the hand signal on your screen. You can then be able to minimize or restore presentation. Now to the EU Tech introduction. So it's a bit cold in Nairobi today, so My voice is a bit shaky, but as my colleague Javier has introduced, the EU Tech Chamber started in 2015 with the mission and vision Technology Obliges, co-funded by the European Union, and the three goals are growth, sustainability, and competitiveness. The EU Tech Chamber is structured into different alliances. We have regional alliances, China, Africa, which I'm also coordinating, and Latin America, and one for the German-speaking Europe. And some tech alliances here are IoT, mobility, energy, smart cities, environment, digital transformation, sustainable manufacturing, and food farming and fisheries. And the Impact Alliance is a finance, SDG Alliance, which is hosting this event today, the climate action, as well as women in tech. Now, the EU Tech Chamber is Europe's #1 platform for technology exchange and business networking at 200 plus webinars per year. 20 expos, these are hybrid events and virtual exhibitions around Europe. And our webinars and expos are at over 50,000 registrants. 90% of the audience are company owners and decision makers. The EU Tech Chamber is also the #1 tech platform for networking. We will give you exclusive market insights in the follow-up networking meetings, and these meetings are dedicated to exchange ideas and cooperations and projects, as well as giving unique access to EU tenders and worldwide funding in dedicated networking meetings. If you'd like to join this networking meeting, I will leave a link shortly in the public chat function, how you can join them, and also to invite our speakers here to the next networking meeting next Thursday. And the EU Tech Chamber has a wider ecosystem than events and networking. We have insights. For insights, each alliance has a white paper, position paper, newsletters which will be sent out every week, EU tenders, which I've introduced in the previous slide, as well as the Visions for Europe magazine. And here for the Visions for Europe magazine, I would like to invite all to submit your article, how you're using technology to foster change in society through science innovation. And the best article gets to enter the print edition, which reaches 10,000 decision makers directly. The Visions for Europe magazine is our quarterly print magazine. From programs here, social media support. Our social media team will give you your project a lot of visibility, as well as marketing, digital transformation to align with ESG, and all. And when it comes to awards, I'd like to also introduce that the SDG Alliance is organizing the SDG 2022 Awards, which will be held on November 24th. And for last year, each winner received a marketing and promotional package of 10,000 euros. The application process will be opened shortly. And please also follow us on LinkedIn, as well as the SDG Alliance LinkedIn group, to be able to keep updated when the application is open. So they have the tech.forum. Our tech team will provide you a virtual booth. This virtual booth will be moved to the virtual expos as well, and you can be able to create and manage your own events. So here we are. If you would like to engage and benefit, please reach out to my colleagues, Marcus and Federico. And so that was a brief introduction about the EU Tech Chamber. Now I'd like to go back to our event here today, the SDGs best practice and challenges. And I would like to introduce the panel. Here we have Tulian Anna, who is the co-founder and CEO at Sdg Monitor. Tuliana is passionate about helping companies and organizations to draw hands-on sustainability action plans, show their real ESG and SDG impacts, realize their targets, and secure them to build sustainable growth now and in the future. Also interested in fostering inclusive work from anywhere culture and empowering women in technology. Anthony Reid Harvey is the Managing Director, Africa Prosperity. And Reid Harvey is a ceramic designer focused on the Sustainable Development Goals for less developed countries and their community. His work experience is over 24 years in Sub-Saharan Africa and Southern Asia. A premise in RAID's work is that the human and natural resources that are necessary to industrial development are nearly everywhere. Today also on the panel is Matthew Norton, founder of Memusi Foundation. Matthew is committed his adult life to tackling education as part of the Sustainable Development Goals, especially in Africa. At Memusi, Matthew has led the build of 4 schools and has developed Memusi Outreach, focusing on healthcare with female empowerment, teacher development, and infrastructure. In 2022, Matthew has set up Memusi Street Child, supporting street children who are born, grew up, and live on the streets of Nairobi. Henry Forde is the project lead, Gusakuza, and Henry is an agripreneur with over 7 years of experience working with people, especially women and youth in the agribusiness sector in Africa. He is a project lead at Gusakuza, an organization committed to creating an ecosystem for women in agribusiness to thrive, and the manager of Access Agric, an online agriculture news portal that provides a platform to publish, promote, and access agriculture news and events. Henry is also working to advance the Sustainable Development Goals as a research fellow at the International Sustainability Academy in Hamburg, Germany. So now I'm going to invite Tulian for the first round of your presentation. Tulian, I'm going to mute myself first, and then when you see your presentation up, please, the stage is yours.
Hello, everyone, and good morning from my part as well, and welcome to TCU Tech SDG Alliance event today. My name is Tulianna Tiuttu. I am CEO and co-founder at Sdg Monitor. The Sdg Monitor is a cloud-based tool, and we help companies and organizations to integrate the SDGs into the company's sustainability actions, show their ESG impacts, and help them to communicate transparently their sustainability performance through our visualized data dashboards. So we really help companies to measure, manage, and report, communicate on their sustainability performance. Here on this slide, you have also my contact details. Would be lovely to hear from you afterwards. Can I have the next slide, please? So with SDG Monitor, we quantify the SDGs. We have also translated the SDGs indicators for businesses to help them to best identify themselves throughout those more than 200 SDG indicators. And so what's going on in the fields of SDG, if you look at them from the business perspective? Well, first of all, 193 countries have signed the Agenda 2030, and the main content of it are the Sustainable Development Goals. And we are really running late with almost all of them, and due to the lack of measurement, also lack of resources, although solutions to measure are available, and also the lack of relevant KPIs and also management of the progress. And also for the SDGs, the global pandemic has delayed or also even reversed the progress that has been already made, such as several years in progress in the poverty alleviation. And but the companies and organizations, they are really in the crucial role in realizing these goals, and they are supporting the SDGs in all of the industries. But the problem is that we really don't know where they are, since there are only a few companies who are front runners in this, and they show how these goals are integrated into their business strategy. Some standardization is, of course, missing in data and what to measure from one industry to the next. So we call them these industry-based indicators. And And it is actually an interesting fact from the Fortune 500 list analysis that the information technology sector have largely engaged with the SDGs. And in contrast, the healthcare sector has showed the slightest interest to the SDGs. There are 300 out of 500 Fortune 500 world's biggest companies that have mentioned the SDGs on their website, but only around 20% of the companies have really presented some specific actions or projects for the SDGs, and less than 1% have a tool to measure this progress. So yeah, lack of KPIs. Many companies don't measure the progress towards SDGs, but they are supporting SDGs throughout their communication in their sustainability reports, in their annual reports, website, social media for their clients and suppliers. Can I have the next slide, please? Here, just very quickly, where are those triggers coming for the business to start the sustainability journey? First of all, it can be a must. So it can be a legislation change, such as the CSRD that is coming next year, the Corporate Sustainability Reporting Directive, that is part of the EU taxonomy. And that will force roughly around 50,000 companies to start to report on their sustainability matters. So it can be really a must to pull and start the sustainability journey. It can also be a requirement from the investors or clients, for example, that the company really sees that there is a huge opportunity for innovation, for creating a partnership with other companies to, for example, to enter to a new market when they are taking and integrating sustainability practices into their business. Or it can be an opportunity for competitive edge and for creating more growth inside the company. And also it can come from the inside. It can be really the will of the people inside the company. They understand the purpose and the why factor behind the sustainability for them. Next slide, please. Then here are a couple of recommendations for the companies to start to measure. So the most important part of the SDGs is to measure and what actions the company is taking that have a positive impact. And finding data, of course, first a very important thing. What we cannot really manage, what we cannot measure. And the finding data is not really hard. The companies have to take into account that and put the processes in place. Most important piece is to choose what are you measuring against, and that you are really choosing relevant KPIs on that, focusing on actions, and then avoid greenwashing in your reporting and communication through several things: reliable, credible data, showing your performance compared to your baseline, and doing that in a consistent manner to your readers. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Juliana. Sorry, it takes me a bit of a second to get back to the main room, but we can only know what we can measure. Couldn't have said it better. Now we're moving on to Anthony, right? Please, if you see your presentation up, the stage is yours. I cannot hear you. Are you trying to speak or something?
Right? Are you there? Yes.
There you go now. Sure. All right, perfect. I'll mute myself, and then when you see your presentation, please, the stage is yours.
Good. Yes, I'm Reed Harvey, and we have Africa Prosperity, which is a new nonprofit organization. Our mission, of course, is to improve the strengths and opportunities of communities, get them self-sufficiency and prosperity. We start with potters and their neighbors, train them to produce insulating rocket stoves and candle water filters. The potters are highly skilled. They know where to find the correct clays, how to process them, how to form their ware, dry and fire. These are demanding skills. And once they know how to do quick production of duplicates, they can produce the stoves and the water filters. Next slide, please. These are this stove. It's a two-piece rocket stove, insulating rocket stove. The bricks consist of 50% combustible and 50% clay. The combustible burns out, leaving a highly insulating brick. Also, the upper liner is lightweight because half of the weight has been, half of the volume has been burned off. The insulating rocket stove, the pot fits down inside, which means it's essentially, it's a furnace. It's highly energy efficient, burns biomass. In this case, this is from Rwanda in March 2022, burning sticks and leaves. We brought water to a rapid boil very quickly. I would not be surprised if this is so energy efficient that it would be a cost-effective way of treating safe drinking water. The candle water filters, we need to standardize these. Water wash and development professionals tend to agree that ceramic water filters are a wonderful option. The problem is nobody knows what they're getting in the market. We can standardize the candle water filters as shared technology and begin production almost anywhere. In the second phase, we'll begin producing incomparable sanitary toilets. That is what we should be soon doing in a second phase of training in Rwanda. Next slide, please. It needs to be understood that that solid fuels can indeed be burned cleanly once you have the correct, well-designed stoves and furnaces and properly prepared fuels. You see on the upper right here, two biomass briquettes. The one on the left is what people are being told to burn. The idea is not to cut down trees to produce charcoal, but to take, for example, wood sawdust or agricultural waste or rice husks, corn cobs, and granulate them to make a biomass briquette, then carbonize it. Well, the problem is that when you carbonize fuel or make a charcoal, 60% of the weight goes off as a volatile gas. The insulating rocket stove you saw uniquely will burn that biomass disc on the right, that biomass briquette, without smoke, with no carbon problems of carbon in the atmosphere. The toilet, this is what can be produced almost anywhere. This glassy surface of a ceramic stoneware toilet, it will give an incomparable surface, easy to keep clean. Even if you don't have soap, you can, or a cleaning agent, you can easily clean it with water. The granulated media water filter system at the bottom right uniquely will get point of use safe drinking water to entire communities. A short walk from homes, you walk 100 meters or so and you come to this system of 2,000 beneficiaries. No one will be left behind for safe drinking water. You see at the very bottom right, 3 granules. It's a scanning electron micrograph. Those are, I think, something like 0.2 millimeter diameter granules. The white specks on those are silver. There's a tiny amount of silver that as the bacteria are passing through, they make repeated contact with the silver and essentially destroyed. this will get safe drinking water to more of those vulnerable than will otherwise be possible. These can all be produced almost anywhere. Next slide, please. The most important thing is to get training to the potters in production of duplicates. You know, there may be something like 100 million potters out there. They're making water pots and cook pots that are affordable to their neighbors. Once they are producing insulating rocket stoves, they will be affordable to their neighbors. It's also very important to get verification from ceramic educators. There are lots of potters who do wonderful work. I hasten to say that anybody who's getting safe drinking water or clean, improved cook stoves to people is doing wonderful work. They need to be commended, but it's essential for the sake of real sustainability to get people in their own production and implementation. The ceramic educators can verify all of these approaches. Right now, there are people who are producing on a widespread basis ceramic water filters who don't know, for example, they don't know how to do fracture strength to determine the fracture strength of their water filters because they were never formally educated in ceramics. There are people making cook stoves who have no idea how to make an insulating ceramic liner because they were not formally educated in ceramics. It's also important, I mean, who's going to send a $4 stove or a $2 water filter to some distant location for assessment? Because of this, it's important that country agencies of standards should be encouraged to do evaluations. But the main point of all of this is it's possible to industrialize a country using the local human and natural resources. The large-scale programs are wonderful, but the most effective at sustainable development may be the ones that depend on human and natural resources, getting them training. Okay, thank you. I'm happy for the opportunity to present.
Yeah, SDG capacity needs to be localized. What a great takeaway. So I've received feedback from the public. In case you do not see the slides, please will you click on the bottom right icon next to the hand signal. You'll be able to restore and minimize the presentation and follow the discussion here today. Okay, now I'm moving on to Matthew. I'm going to mute myself as well, and then when your slides are, please stay.
Okay. Listen, thank you for having me this morning. It's great to be here. It's great to be talking to you alongside the fellow panelists today. My name's Matthew Norton, and I'm the founder of Mamusi Foundation. Svetlana talked a little bit about the work that I do in Kenya. I've been working in Kenya and a little bit in Tanzania for the last 17 years. I'm here primarily today to talk to you about Sustainable Development Goal 4 and quality education. Next slide, please. Now, I know we are... Would you click to the next slide? Brilliant, thank you. So I know we're here today to talk about challenges in development goals and opportunities and what I wanted to say, first of all, is a quick caveat, because clearly the biggest challenges right now are COVID, are world crises, war, cost of living. All of those things are the biggest contributors, the biggest issues to the challenges that are being faced. However, there are ongoing BAU day-to-day challenges that I see and have seen for many years in approaching the Sustainable Development Goals, and particularly in Sustainable Development Goal 4. And I'm going to bring to the fore two of those today. Number one, too much focus on infrastructure and not enough understanding that a building is not a school. The building itself is what wraps school. School is what goes on inside a building, and then you wrap the school in it. However, there are a number of different factors, politics and other issues mean that investment is put into the wrong place, knowingly put into the wrong place in tackling education. I know very well, I've spoken to businesses who invest in education. I've also spoken to politicians who invest in education and said, what's the strategy? And the answer always is infrastructure. Okay, what do you mean by that? Well, we mean that we build buildings, we build classrooms, because if we're going to tackle the sustainable development goals and get every child into quality education, they need classrooms. Of course they need classrooms. But my question would be, what's the point in a building if a child is too hungry to come to school, or too sick to come to school, or there is no teacher in that classroom, or there's no pencil for them to write with? Okay, infrastructure is great and absolutely essential, but we need to get it right. And the investment in infrastructure isn't the only thing that we should be looking at. We should be looking at that whole package. Now, part of the issue is, again, in my experience of working in very remote communities, is that people are asking for classrooms. People want that. People want to feel that they are cared for. So where businesses are investing, they